do what she's doing?
I haven't asked Rowan. Didn't plan to. Either she'll show up or she won't.
Okay.
Okay, so hello everybody. Welcome back to Pathfinder with Epic and Friends, where a group of us idiots get together to make innuendos and have a good time with Pathfinder. Today we are continuing on with our storyline in Opernaeus. Worksind is on the road and will not be able to join us in voice. However, he will be able to type and we will read his lines out for him. Rowan is AWOL for the time being. She may join us in the middle, she may not. This will likely be a shorter session than normal, as we will be continuing on Thursday, where we, depending on how things goes, we may shift over completely to Thursday and be completely overwhelmed by the likes of Critical Role, or we may alternate between Thursdays and Fridays, depending on how it goes with Works' job. Now, without further ado, we continue where we left off, with our party more or less gallivanting around Opernaeus, enjoying the fruits of their various labors. Dak, with a new dress purposefully made to perform well in the popularity contest. Rowan, in her new dress, agreeing to accompany Workson on a quote-unquote date for the night, even though the entire group is going to eat with Dequa's younger brother, Edol, otherwise affectionately known as Date. Fionn and Skull are excited for this matter as well, and Kato, after being primmed and fussed over in Gridania, gets a chance to experience it from the other side. So I will leave it to the party on how they wish to continue for the moment.
Well, as far as I knew, I wasn't downstairs yet, so I was going to.
I was going to say, I might as well have possibly cleaned up and gone back before Todd gets downstairs, because I probably could do that faster than she can handle that beautiful dress she's got coming. Just so everyone's in place when she comes down the stairs.
You can't see it, but I rolled my eyes and giggled. Fion's typing, so I'm not gonna do anything yet. Fionn comes from downstairs with Skull wearing the dress he gave her, using some of her magical glamours to clean up yet further. Saves time on makeup.
Skull is walking beside her, obviously excited. He has spruced up a little bit, appears to be wearing a very lovely button-down, what appears to be a prim and proper Ishgardian vest to deal with the warmer weather. Along with a nice pair of slacks and a good pair of dress shoes. Where he obtained these is up for discussion.
Well, Works is typing. I will say this microphone seems to pick up a lot more than my other one does.
Potentially.
Yeah. No, that's you, Works.
As likewise, our dear friend Worksind is currently dressed rather nicely himself, having borrowed a waiter's outfit from Durabe, who's currently standing there looking over everybody and is casually pouring a few nightcaps for the group?
Well, Dak makes her way down. She's put her hair up as best she can, by herself. She's not wearing any makeup, but she's kind of got that natural beauty thing going on anyway. So it's one of the things she didn't buy. Yeah, comes down in her fancy dress. Okay, a little bit embarrassed because it's so fancy.
Fancy.
Mm-hmm.
It is at this point that Adol kind of bows to everyone and says, "Well, I didn't really expect everyone to go the full 9 yards. I don't really know how upscale this place is. Locke said it was on the higher end. It's called Bounty de Monde. Monde? I don't really know how to pronounce it."
Bounty du Monde.
Dak taps her way over to a doll. Well, oh, never mind. Fiona. Nonetheless, we don't often have an excuse to dress up, so may as well make the most of it. Dak nods, like, yeah. Yeah, Fiona said.
Well, I'm happy to at least give you an occasion for it. Starts chuckling a little nervously.
Well, you dressed up yourself. She gently nudges his side.
Only because Locke's insisted. He's blushing.
I hope he recovers soon. That was really brutal.
From what I saw last, he was up and walking around. You may not want to hug him, though.
No. Well, I hug legs. You all are too tall for me.
Murs at you.
To be fair, everyone's too tall for me.
Rowan has taken her nightcap and is very quietly sloshing it around and says, "Shall we have a toast now or when we get there? Or are you abstaining, Dak, since you have your contest to go to?"
She nods slowly. I'm gonna abstain from it. I'm not a big drinker anyway. Kind of looks aside.
Work says, "If we do one now, it won't bother you by the time of the contest." And Adol just kind of gives a little nod. I mean, that's what... He looks outside and looks up. 5 hours away?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Goes over and gets herself a nightcap.
And Adol's like, "Don't let him pressure you, Dak. You don't have to impress anybody."
Yeah. I'll take a sip. How's that?
He's like, "Okay."
Myself, Yijin will grab a glass for the...
Damn it. That was not aimed at anybody in particular.
Huh? Oh.
Adol's like, "Well, should we go? According to Locks, it gets crowded relatively fast. But considering the notoriety that you've all gained over the last 2 days, I guess getting a table shouldn't be too hard."
I wouldn't want to take advantage of something like that, though.
Works in return says, "Wait, we actually gained a good reputation?" which point Adol like looks to him and says, good is a relative term?
Yeah. There's more than likely a reason he said notoriety instead of popularity.
Fionn says, well, we gained a reputation, but we'll need some time to improve upon it.
Skull just very faintly nods to this, and he says, though we do have, from what I understand, we have a reputation of being entertaining at the very least. At least here. He's like, let's not talk about our reputation in Gridania or that other place.
You're just probably going to just be sitting there drinking things yourselves. I doubt our reputation's going to go anywhere but down.
Well, Jack takes a sip of the drink. Well, as I guess as said earlier, to new beginnings. So hopefully, be nothing but up.
At that point, Adol is like looking, and he can see Urabe just kind of looking at him as like customers start trickling in for the dunch hour. The tea hour. Yes, tea. We'll call it tea.
Yeah.
And he just kind of is like waving his hands at you all, like, shoot.
Okay, we'll go. Puts the glass down and hurries out.
Knowledge puts the glass down and follows after.
Skull is about to take Fion's hand, but sees Kato is still not moving in any given hurry, and he just kind of like reaches down and pulls him up and starts pushing him out the door. Like, come on, big guy. You too.
Come on, I'm paying, so you guys can't be grumpy.
I guess.
Works, meanwhile, offers Rowan his arm, which she takes very casually and says, well, at least you're acting like a gentleman today.
Fionn leaves briskly, taking Skull's hand once he's done coaxing Kato.
While you're all walking down the street, since you have a good 20 to 30 minute walk ahead of you, Skull turns and says, so Kato, everyone else has been really vocal about our problems and issues, so it's your turn. Why don't you disturb Dex, brother?
She kind of like takes Adol's hand. It's like, please don't traumatize my brother.
Skull looks at it. It's like, I will try to do my best not to traumatize him any more than I have already done to you.
I don't really have anything traumatizing to say.
Well, tell us about yourself. We know you like to take naps.
And from what I heard from Rowan, you really like food, so I'm kind of worried about our bill.
Rowan chimes up. Well, he's got to eat. Remember, he's eating for two.
Wait, what?
It's like, well, you're twice the size of any of the rest of us.
Okay, fair.
Not even say how many times taller than me you are. So many.
I think it's about 3.5.
There you go.
Skull then pokes you back on subject.
What about your family?
Most likely dead.
Oh.
Skull immediately just pops you in the back of the head. He's like, Kato!
It's the truth.
I understand it's the truth, but you can at least give some details about them.
Well, my dad was chief of the village.
Oh.
And then... Oh, hold on. Let me pull up my notes on them real quick.
Skull's like pinching his nose a little bit, and he goes, "Come on, man. We all have daddy issues, except for Rowan."
I think Hunt has some daddy issues, but those are different.
Skull looks at you like, "I dare you to say that again." Orc says, "And me, my father and I were close. He's the one who taught me how to fight." Fodder.
Correct his words. Yeah, I'm not exactly on close terms with my father. Although, Dad's okay when he behaves.
Theo, meanwhile, says, "My father admittedly did his best trying to raise my sisters and me, but..." The Skull says, "And you all met my father, so you know exactly why I have undeniable trauma and daddy issues."
Yes! Yes, I do. Indeed, says Fiona.
Well. Anyway, moving on.
Hurts.
Works comments, "He didn't try scoring with any of your girlfriends, did he?" At that point, Skull gives a very deep sigh and he says, "In the world that I came from, Prima Nocta was still very harshly enforced. I didn't have to worry about him doing that. I had to worry about my liege lord doing that. Needless to say, it happened a lot."
She kind of shuts her mouth on that.
I was lucky to die at 25, so... yeah. That point, Adol's looking over her shoulder like, "What the fuck?"
She just shakes her head.
Eugene just says I'm okay in the world because this isn't unusual with them.
That point, Adol looks at Nick. Did he say die?
If you want, I could give you a decent rundown later. Fiona grimaces and shakes her head. Well, perhaps we should move on to happier subjects. Kato, what are your aspirations?
One second. Catboy, Voidsent Wolf. Voidsent Wolf, Catboy.
Well, I mean, if you want to go simple on it.
Tall man with an Adol looks at you and goes, it's like, blinks a few times. The Skull says, "Tall Roganin with foot and mouth? Catboy, Catboy, Tall Roganin with foot and mouth."
At least I don't chew on my own butt.
Kato!
He looks at you and goes, "Would you prefer I chew on your leg instead?"
Fiona scowls at Kato. Dak pinches the bridge of her nose. This is going to be the entire mood, the entire way to this restaurant, isn't it?
I think at this point it's easy to say this is on life now, thought.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty much.
Works says, "Hey, at least we keep things interesting." It is around this time that you all, like, Adol turns you around the corner, and it's at this point you see the street is open and there's this massive crowd in front of you. Everyone is dressed to the nines, high-end clothing, jewelry. You're looking out in the crowd, and there's probably people wearing necklaces and rings that cost more gil than you currently have. Prim, proper, just everything you can think of. They're all just kind of standing, talking with one another as they wait in line, as these two waiters, or rather maitre d's, standing up at the front of this tall marble building right along the edge of the coastal barrier overlooking the bay is before you, and over it you see Monte de Moon. Over it, and the waft of fine cuisine is hitting your noses. Someone turns to you and actually points out works and says, "Ah, finally, more help has arrived."
No, he's with us.
Fion says, "I dare say we may have underdressed."
At this point, Jijin has paused, looks at the building, looks at what they're wearing, thinks about the amount of gil, and is like, considering just turning around.
Works, meanwhile, his face is turned bright red. It is at this point that an Ellison individual. God damn it. Zooming in. A very fierce Ellison male, dressed in a gray pinstriped suit with a fedora on, very slowly walks out of a side door and glances at the group and says, "Ah, our expected guests, please do come in." And he's kind of pushes the door aside and waves you in.
We were expected?
Yes, indeed. Several of our esteemed clientele were expecting you. Made a reservation in your stead.
It was the innkeeper, wasn't it?
Innkeeper?
The Summer's Lullaby?
No, in fact, it was our esteemed owner.
Fion says, more likely a Lox. I mean, either way, this is a surprise. Shall we go?
Ah, yes. Our owner, Alphanod Volisian, has asked that you be treated with the utmost courtesy and respect for the night.
Kind of looks at the group. Do we know what person by that name? Sounds familiar.
We know that twin Ellison guy, but I don't think his last name was that.
Fion says it was more likely a Lox.
Yeah, I already said that one.
Yeah, that was before
It's okay.
you know the name. Fion's asking what's knowledge roll for this.
Local.
Yeah, that'd be
Nice.
Fiona, I'm gonna yank you down to private for a second. Okay, essentially as you're thinking about it and you're going over it, you remember very faintly a few whispers at a local bar the other night. Mostly what your wanderings about was Skull, which made you remember there's a fair number of crime families in Aperneus. Volisian is one of them.
welcome back.
I guess I shouldn't bother rolling my local to see what I know.
Hey, you're welcome to roll if you like.
I might as well. Like I say, it's probably gonna fail so badly.
Oh, never know till you try. Hey.
Alright, Yedrin, quick and dirty of it is, just as Fionn remembered, as you were walking around, when you were walking with Fenrir, you stopped by a local bar where you happened to eavesdrop on another conversation about different families to avoid in the city for various reasons, and the Volesian family was one of those that came up. To your knowledge, it is a crime family.
Haha, works. Fionn says, so I see. Somewhat stiffly. Well, he has reserved a table for us. Who are we to turn it down?
At this point, the Elezen says, yes, indeed. We would be very grateful for you to join us tonight. You have all gained so much fame in the tourney. What with our runner-up there? And he points to Dag. He just gives her a smile and a wink. And he's like, not to mention
blushes.
Third and fourth place winners.
She kind of...
If you excuse me, I thought that the lady that happened to be competing in the archery competition, Artemis, was it? I thought she was with you all as well.
She looks a little confused, and she kind of grabs Adol's hand when he had pointed her out and started blushing. Fionn says, she has gone back to her training.
Oh, that's too bad. We had a special dish in mind for her. Regardless, would you all like to come in? We would be happy to take any coats or anything you do not wish to hold on to during the course of your meal. Adult, meanwhile, is like looking around, his little antsy. Works, meanwhile, hands over his weapons and says, please, do take good care of these. At which point the Elezen is holding on to these, like, all these spears, and like the mace, and the crowd's like murmuring to themselves. He's like, right. Very well. He's just like, Julian! Julian! Do we have a locker for these?
Fionn's left all but her grimoire behind at the inn, which he begrudgingly turns over if the gaze of the maitre d' goes to it.
Surprisingly, they don't notice it. They are like just calling for someone to take Works' weapons, and Rowan's just looking at him like, why did you bring weapons to a restaurant?
I'm gonna say you left this behind, because why would you?
I mean, Adol's got his rapier on his hip.
Well, that's a pretty fancy weapon, and
It's true.
A hand was a bit more of a, that's an accessory statement.
Adol's like handed his rapier over. What? He hands it over like in the passing of a sword ceremony, almost like handing it to them. One hand on the hilt, the other hand at the tip of the blade, and he says, I do entrust this to you.
Fionn is unfortunately rather a paranoid sort, though the slipcase does make the grimoire rather less conspicuous.
Works meanwhile says, Dole said I could get them checked in, plus I don't like leaving them too far away from myself. And, Maitre D just kind of nods very frankly, and he says, the warrior sort. Well, know that they will be checked in and cared for while you enjoy your meal. At that point, he kind of pushes the door open, and Skull just leans over to Fiona and whispers in her ear and goes, I don't feel right about this.
Deck holds onto Adol's hand or arm, depending on how he wants to let her hold onto him, and she kind of like takes him in.
I think you'd be swinging if you let you hold onto his arm.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there's like the part just above the wrist. That's what I meant more.
Fair. I think he could probably just take your hand.
Yeah. She whispers back, "You're right not to. We've drawn the attention of the underworld." I was right. Sorry, out of character.
The Mater D just looks at him. He says, apologies, it seems breakfast has decided to act up slightly. I'll be fine in a moment.
You're just being extra polite this entire time.
At this point, you all are led into the main portion of the restaurant. It is obviously opulent beyond all potential belief. Very tall marble pillars kind of line the entire walkway. The space inside you're probably looking at a good 350 feet in length by 200 feet wide, with very large dark wood tables in places. Likewise, you can see that there's balconies leading up to more private booths and the like, and as the Mater D walks you all in, he takes you upstairs and walks you into a private back room. There's only one entranceway. However, you have a very large, open, bay-styled balcony looking over the bay and kind of exposed to the outside. However, when you look out, you can see that it is overlooking the courtyard of the restaurant and out into the ocean bay. And as you look, and you can see that there's these high bushes and the like to the side where it's impossible to get a view into this room unless you're directly beneath it. Additionally, with the bands and everything that are playing outside and all the murmur of conversation and the excited upper class, you're not going to hear anything either. At that point, the Mater D just kind of, seeming from nowhere, pulls out this very large white tablecloth and he throws it down over the table, and he takes turns seating everybody. And then you note that there are about 5 empty chairs at the other end of the table after he's done seating you. And he says, "Do forgive us, this table is usually for larger parties. However, a real waiter will be back in just a moment to get whatever you would like to drink and to let you know what's on the menu for today. Please do make yourselves comfortable." At that point, he snaps his fingers and a tray of warm butter, olive oil mixed with a little balsamic vinegar and herbs, and a freshly cut baguette appear in front of the group. And he says, "And do please be our guest." At that point, he leaves.
Thank you. Oh. She puts a hand to her cheek. This is... I don't think I've eaten at a fancy place like this since I've been in Ulda.
The moment that Dak kind of says the whole, I haven't done that in a while, a napkin rises up from the table and darts over to her, tucking it into her dress, kind of making one of those little bibs. At that point, her silverware lifts up into the air, and one of the baguettes flies in front of her. The knife flicks itself through the butter, butters the bread for her itself, and sets it down with a little tray of the dipping oil ready to go.
She puts her hands up and she's kind of like,
Kata watches this and is like,
Also,
if Valerie starts singing, I'm leaving.
also before that, Fionn has taken her seat and she remains ill at ease. I don't know if I want to eat this now. The display leaves her glancing about for any mages. So does Dak.
Roll a perception.
Okay. First perception of the night. Fionn got an 11. I got a 31.
You see no mages. In fact, you see nothing aside from what's going on around you. It is at this point that Dak, as soon as you see that they put the bread down on a smaller piece on the table, the light in the room dims. And you're looking around, and it's an unnatural dimness considering you have the natural sunlight coming in from outside. And very slowly, this globule of brass and gold forms in the center of the table and shapes itself into a candelabra. And
Kata just gets up and walks out.
the door is locked.
Damn it!
And one by one, all 6 of the candles on it light. And then slowly more plates roll their way in and lay in front of you. And as you're looking down, you see the plate, what looks to be very tiny people, start walking out, each of them dressed in, I would say, Fionn and Dak, they're probably about the same size as one of Fionn's summoned fairies. In fact, some of them are smaller.
Oh my god.
And they're all dressed as waiters, maids, cooks, and the whatnot. They kind of come out and dance around the plate, bringing with them little scoops of cream as they start building these illusory, fantastically decorated desserts in front of you. And as you wave your hand through it, or go to touch it, the illusion sort of dissipates, but when you pull your hand back, it's still there.
She just puts her hands like over her mouth. She's just watching this. And it's just like amazed. Fionn watches, puzzled and cautiously intrigued. Also, you missed one of Work's things.
I was choosing to ignore that since everyone had already been seated.
Ah, okay.
Eugene's body saying they're like as polite and business-like as they can, but at this point it's still gone dead-eyed because, dear lord, the opulence. The opulence.
Dak tries her baguette.
You bite into it, it is light, airy. It's almost like, while the outside is nice and crisp and there's this honey butter texture onto the freshly buttered baguette, the interior is soft and fluffy and almost melts in your mouth with how light it is. And as you continue to watch for a moment, the little fantasy fairy things clear off the plates, everything disappearing, and you see another 8 to 9 rush out with little paintbrushes, and you realize the paintbrushes are real, and they start making swooshes of dark chocolate across the plates, and a basket of little puff pastries filled with custard start rolling in, and one gets planted onto each of your plates for the moment. And just as they finish up, the light increases, and another individual walks in. It is a young Makote girl with blue hair, bright yellow eyes, and a very giddy personality. As she walks in and says, "Well, did everybody enjoy the show?"
I was very surprised by it. I was not expecting that.
Yes, that's what everyone says the first time they come and eat with us.
Fiona lightly claps. It was quite the display.
She gives a little curtsy and says, "Well, thank you. My name is Melita. If it would please you all, can I know what you'd like to drink? We have all manner of juices, over 5,000 types of wine, along with our house proprietary blend. 200 forms of bourbon, whiskey, 3 of our house proprietary blends of rum, along with 20 direct from Limsa. If you happen to be of a taste for Hannigan, we do have sake as well. Likewise, we have plain water, teas of all varieties. If you have any requests, please let us know."
Chamomile tea, please?
Yes, we can do that. We can certainly do that for you. Any particular brand of bourbon that suits you? As Works has requested a bourbon on the rocks. Works then returned said, "I'm not really familiar with fancier brands, so dealer's choice. How about we get you a proprietary blend? It's about 15 gil a glass." Works replies, "Sounds good. Would you read Fion's for me?"
Oh, a cup of this Guardian tea for me, please.
Would you like that in the dessert style, or would you prefer it more of the steeped and warmed? We do have it both ways, particularly if you like salmon tarts.
Just glances at Tart.
Kind of shakes her head at Kato. Steeped and warmed is fine, thank you.
Very well, and for you, sir, and she looks at the door and goes, ice water and lemon. Skull, meanwhile, is looking up. I'd like a glass of white wine, if you please. Could we make it a, let's see. I'll try the house proprietary blend. Very good, very good. And for you, sir, I believe your name is Kato?
Yeah, I asked the question in the party chat before.
Yes, sure. Could do that.
Sun lemonade?
Yeah, sure, we can do that. Pink or yellow?
Yellow's fine.
Very good. Rowan, meanwhile, orders a glass of wine. Is there anybody I'm forgetting? Yedrin, did you order anything?
No, I was just gonna say, Yidrin's probably just gonna order a glass of ice water.
Very well. She gives a faint bow and heads off. And just as she exits, another individual walks in. This time, it is a Rogadan female. Light skinned, blonde hair, short. God damn it. Stupid oversized map. Oh, come on!
As big as you can make it.
No, I can't get the little tab.
Aw.
By the way, all credit goes to the artist for these pieces.
Yo.
As she comes in, dressed in a fine gown in the Limson style and Limson colors, she takes a faint bow to you all and says, "Greetings, I am Soleria, and I will be taking your food orders today. We prefer to get them all out and ready to go as quickly as possible. We have 4 dishes on the menu tonight. We have poulet de reine rotui avec vin de jura morales et gratin de fenois, or roasted free-range chicken in a wine sauce with morels and potato gratin. We have sole anguille mignon au grillé avec sauce moutarde, or Dover sole with lemon butter mornay sauce, or grilled with mustard sauce. We have medallions de veau sauce aux morels, or medallions of veal with morel sauce. And lastly, for our vegetarians, we have a particular version of Hachis parameter served with baked zucchini, and instead of a gravy, a warm tomato sauce served extra chunky, heavy with onions, chives, and a range of peppers.
I'll take the vegetarian option, please.
Also, forgive me for anyone who happens to be French watching this. I do not speak the language.
I'm with you.
Like, just type out the simplified versions.
Yeah. Sorry. It's like I heard the French and my brain half turned off for a second.
Kato raises up a hand. I will have the medallions.
Forgive us, we do have one other special tonight. We have the Corée de Gagnou rôti à la croûte de thin fraise, or roasted rack of lamb with fresh thyme crust.
Actually, I'll have that.
Works and Kato both order the lamb.
What was the vegetarian option? I didn't see that.
Hang on.
Fiona says, I think I'll have the chicken, please.
So the Rogadan is a sea wolf then?
Yes.
Okay.
Adrian's probably gonna take the Dover sole with lemon butter.
Very well. And for you, good sirs? And she points to Adol and Skull, and Skull just looks for a moment and says, I think I'll have the medallions of veal, if you please. And Adol looks up and says, the vegetarian option will suit me just well, thank you.
That's actually a bit of a surprise. Most of the family loves their seafood.
Are you talking to Adol, or are you just...
Yeah, just saying to Dole.
You kind of develop different tastes when you're landlocked.
No, I understand completely.
Gedrin, you said you got the soul. Has anybody not ordered? I guess Rowan hasn't.
Rowan hasn't.
I'll have Rowan get the veal as well.
Admit they all sound really good.
Yeah.
Is it bad I had to look up what the soul is?
I automatically assumed it was fish because that's what I.
Very well. Yeah. If you all save room, we will definitely have desserts ready afterwards. For now, I once again welcome you all to Bonté des Mondes, and wish you all good eating. We are very happy that you decided to join us. At which point, she turns and leaves, and just as she does, she opens the door, and your drinks float in and plop down in front of you, in perfect precision.
That claps lightly.
Shortly. Please enjoy any further entertainment that should be provided to you. She shuts the door again. Skull just kind of looks around and he's like, and looks to Fio and like leans over to him and is like, so how bad do you think they're just trying to butter us up, or do you think they do this often?
If they were trying to butter us up, they wouldn't be
whispered it
telling
to
us.
Fio.
Oh.
Sorry to cut you off.
Well, Kata's just gonna say aloud, you think that if he made us the reservation, he'd pay for it as well?
Hijin just side glances at Kato and it's like...
Adol's like, well, they said the owner prepared this table, right?
Yeah. That's my point.
Fionn says, it's hard to say. Or she whispers back, it's hard to say, but I wouldn't discount it.
Adol, meanwhile, kind of takes a drink of his water and he says, you all seem stiff. Am I missing something?
I think it's only Fiona and me that have staff.
Dak enjoys her tea, and once it's cooled down enough, it soothes her nerves.
Kata was rather unnerved by the whole situation. Is they are locked in their room.
Workson says, the only thing stiff on me is my drink, to which Skull says, thank God for once.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to be the one who said that.
Dak almost snorts her tea a little bit.
You see Adol, like, in the middle of a drink, just, like, take a sip and, like, bites his lip to, like, avoid spraying it.
You're right. It's like they're right. I did find a group almost like my family. Fionn sips her tea. We may have drawn some undue attention from elements in the city-state, including this restaurant's proprietor.
Adol kind of scratches his chin a little bit. I hope blocks didn't get us in trouble.
Could you go into a little more detail about that, madam?
Dak just kind of looks confused over at Fionn. I thought it was because we did well in the tourney.
I'm sure these are the girls we did well in the tourney. Just not how you think.
Huh. Well, I guess it'd be rude not to, enjoy their hospitality at least. You gonna say work scenes?
Orcs says, someone may have an offer we can't refuse, to which Skull and Adol immediately in unison just go, and you hear their palms just hit their foreheads.
Gold brick.
Fion says, a little too well, we may have disrupted some throne matches. Her ears perk up a little bit. Throne matches?
I'm not too worried about that, Fiona, mostly because if that was the case, I doubt they would invite us over to dinner, so to speak.
At that point,
Probably.
the doors slam open, both of them, and this serving cart rushes by, flying about your heads. The plates of food coming up, spinning in a typhoon, and flopping down in front of you, all freshly cooked. All of it made fresh to order, from what you can tell. All of it piping hot, still steaming over through your nostrils.
As soon as the door opens, Fiona immediately quiets down.
Yeah. At which point, the baguettes and the oil and all of that goes flying off somewhere else. And before any of you can lift your hands to go to cut your own food, your knives and forks animate themselves and begin cutting your food for you, lifting them up as if through your own little motions or mental states to bring you a bite when you want it.
This is a little weird.
All I'm imagining is just opening your mouth like a fish and just food just flies in.
Agent Sisk. Not to say they're gonna relax, but they're gonna at least enjoy themselves, because if they're getting like and stuff, they're gonna enjoy themselves, because if it's... Let's enjoy yourselves before you get to some possibly heavy talk.
When should we get to a bar mitzvah arc?
It's supposed to be Italian, but okay.
Fion's utensils succeed in little more than picking at the food tentatively for the time being. And works and sips his drink and goes, I could get used to this!
In the meantime, for those of you who are not keen on letting something else cut your food, it does allow you to grip them and do it yourself.
Dak grips a spoon and pokes at her food a little bit just because it might be too hot still.
As Dak taps the top of her hashi's perimeter, there's a very satisfying of the flaky pastry just cracking open, almost like a creme brulee. And as it does so, this burst of steam and aroma of tomato, freshly chopped peppers, and zucchini just hits her nostrils.
Dak's just in heaven smelling that. And she kind of sits up a little straighter and, in the most polite of fashion, starts eating.
You see Adol kind of copy that motion. Say, you all eat for the next 15-20 minutes. But the awkward silence, the obvious concern over what's going on. Skull and Adol eat without any real question, not trying to do anything. Skull just kind of nudges Fion and said, if we've attracted that bad of attention, we may as well enjoy a last meal. It is rather good.
Skull said that out loud. You're just probably gonna just nod at his direction, just to agree with him, because, yeah.
Skull shrugs is like, if we are truly in that deep of shit, what can we do? We walked right into enemy territory, sat down, have drank their wine, drank their teas and beverages. If you would, Deck.
Oh, I've gotten out of worse with you by my side. Let's not be so, macabre about it, dear. With a peck on Skull's cheek, Fiona goes to eat.
Skull works, meanwhile, says, I mean, would it be too off our usual to have a fight on our way out of here? Skull thinks about it. Go ahead, Deck.
I was gonna say, yes, but you did give them all of your weaponry.
Skull, meanwhile, looks at Works and he says, I don't know, I don't think we've gotten into a bar fight yet. Have we?
Not to my knowledge.
Kato just looks at Works like,
says, yeah,
you gave them your weapons, and if you do that other thing, we don't know you.
Shh. Looks at Kato and just shh.
Back.
Yeah. Fiona shakes her head and sips her tea once more. It's a little late for that, I think.
Skull just very calmly sips his drink. He says, well, my father's still in town, and I am his son and his fuck toy are both here, so...
Jack blushes at that.
The doll's like face lights on fire.
Fiona tries very hard not to spray her tea.
Works and responds, I grew up street fighting. I can still throw a punch. Skull looks at him.
Can I just say at the one comment, while, like, maybe while we're going to take a bite, just says, "What it?" under the breath.
Skull just rubs his face. It's like, I don't doubt you could throw a punch, Workson. I doubt you could throw a punch well into a suit of armor or throw a punch well into a sword.
Truth.
It's...
Or the several dozen people who are likely to be coming at us.
Dak looks a little nervous. I don't have too much in the way of magic left for the day.
In all honesty, my advice, enjoy ourselves and just treat our host respectfully.
Oh. Dak goes for her tea and sips it and tries to calm her butt down again.
Nothing else to be done.
It's at that point that you see a figure standing by the door. A dark-skinned Makote, white hair, piercing blue eyes, dressed in a white suit, wearing the all-too-familiar Tribly hat. And as he very calmly walks in, slides in and takes a seat right next to Dak. Do you all recognize this as Lox?
Lox, feeling better?
Oh, very much better, dear.
Good evening, Lox, says Fiona.
How is everybody's dinner treating you?
The display is amazing, and the food is very good. Workson tries to avoid making eye contact with Lox.
Well, we do appreciate you all coming down at my suggestion. We were originally going to ask you to go down to Canterbury instead, but it seems all of our reservations there filled up faster than we could get you a table. So, we hope you don't mind making do with our second best.
You
Uh,
set this up?
yeah, Julia just stops eating at even second, like I suppose like at even second best. It's like then just goes back. It's like they just sort of like glitched for a second.
He's like, what?
You just kind of. Yes, we do apologize for that. We would have given you a better show and a better meal, but sadly, the gods conspired against us on that point.
Oh no, this was more than I'd expected to eat tonight.
You see Adol's like looking at Lox, like confused. Oh, I apologize, dear brother. I did mean to set you up a little bit, but you'll have to forgive me. Business is business. While your meal tonight will be pro bono, we ask you to forgive us, but the owner and my employer would like to speak with you all.
I mean, how could we really refuse that, Lox?
Some people have issues not knowing that someone has summoned them and then wined and dined them.
At the very least, we can hear what they have to say.
This is true.
There's always the choice of refusing.
Rowan just kind of swirls her wine. He's like, well, if they're going to feed us that well, the least we can do is hear them out. We don't really have to promise them anything now, do we?
No, we don't.
Does anybody have any objections to this? Workson, meanwhile, says, might be good to have some high connections. Skull, in turn, looks to Fionn to see what she has to say. Well, Adol is, like, looking at Kato, like...
Eyes looking at me.
Wondering what you think about it.
I am very concerned at this point.
Something on your mind, Kato?
This seems a little odd.
Not the word choice I would have gone with, but I agree, it's a little excessive.
I would kind of have to agree.
A little too good to be true.
Lox just shrugs a little bit. What can I say? My employer is a wealthy man and likes to treat potential friends very well. Shall I go fetch him?
I'm still working on my food, but I don't see any problem with that.
I suppose.
Very well. If there are no other concerns, I will go and get him for you.
Thank you, Lox.
You are very welcome. And don't worry, little sister, you aren't in any trouble, nor is anyone else. It's just a business proposition, nothing more.
I know all about business propositions, Lox.
Purses his lips for a moment. He says,
Remember my roots.
I don't think your roots have anything on this, little sister. He starts to So you're all left alone again.
I want to say I'm surprised, but I'm almost not, considering he suggested this to you at all.
I did bad.
You did not. She, like, pats Adol's hand. You did nothing wrong.
Can't blame someone for taking a family member's recommendation of dying in space.
At this point, that another Elysian man enters, coming in with the same Elysian maitre d' that you saw earlier, and Lox. And last but not least, and forgive the artwork on this one, a Elysian female. As they all come in, they all sit down, all of them impeccably dressed. You will note that the Elysian female is not dressed in the fancy gowns or anything of the like. She's actually dressed in a suit. The bottom right, to be more specific. And as they all sit down, a green-haired Elysian with a slight soul patch, rounded glasses, and a very large scar over his left eye, sits down. He looks over all of you, dressed in a pinstriped suit, very similar to the maitre d'. And as he looks over you all, he says, "Greetings. I am Alphinaud Volsilin, and I appreciate you all taking my summons and enjoying my food and my beverages for the evening. Tell me, how was it?"
Delicious. Thank you.
Kato just kind of raises a brow and looks to the Elysian. Why do I have a feeling she's the one who's really in charge?
Oh, yeah.
Roll a diplomacy.
Oh dear. I have to go there.
Skull, Adol, and a Lox just all like turn their heads to look at you.
I think even Yedrin's looking at you at this point.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Dexter's to look at him too. Kato rolled a 19 in diplomacy. Fiona looks at Kato questioningly.
Alphinaud just very calmly taps his fingers over the table, like looking dead at Kato. It says, "Under normal circumstances, I would castrate you, but I'm in a good mood today." Let me make this abundantly clear to you, Master Kato. My name is Alphinaud Volsilin. I control this family with an iron fist, and I will do so until I cannot anymore, or I have decided that a hare is more capable, or someone else in my vicinity is more capable than I am. The dear woman next to you is Alize Lumitia. She has been my right hand for 5 years going on now. She's very skilled at what she does. However, she is not in control of this family, nor will she ever be. At least for the time being. Should something happen to my immediate person, there's potential, but that depends on what the patriarchs and the other family members have to say on the matter. believe I asked the rest of you a question.
Dak kind of sits up a little bit more and gets a really proper kind of sit to her. Fionn quirks an eyebrow and mouths Alice's name to herself. Ah, yes. The quality of the food was impeccable.
Work says it was delicious. My thanks for the drink of the meal. You're most welcome. And I will make sure to get your praise to the chefs. They are very receptive.
So, what is it you want with us?
I was going to get to that after some small niceties, but seeing as you beat me to the cut on that,
My apologies.
I'll make it abundantly clear what I want. A shipment of precious materials was stolen from the Port Authority right under our noses. And the manifest of it just last week. Lox has been doing research into this matter and discovered it was the Notor family that was behind it. All I want is my shipment back. The problem is, I wouldn't normally send adventurers or other people to you. I would normally send a Lox to go do it. Or any of the other footpads that happen to be in the employ of the family. But we had a mole situation.
She opens her mouth to say something, but then closes it, not wanting to actually ask what he meant, thinking it might be too rude.
The identities of most of the family have been compromised for the time being, so we need some outside help. You bring us the shipment back, there's 8,000 gil in it for you. And I'll pay you triple if you do it without being seen, and make it look like it never happened at all.
Dak's eyebrows shoot up.
This shipment wouldn't have anything to do with crystals, would it?
No,
Okay.
I'd also prefer no questions asked, but I'll give you that one.
I don't want to be fighting another primal. Just
Work says, so kill some people, steal back some goods, and make it like an accident. Alphino just looks at you and says, what part of...
No killing, I
No,
think.
What part
Yeah.
of don't be seen and make it look like it never happened do you not understand? To make it clear, no violence, no alarms, nothing to trace it back. Luke says, I just wanted to clarify. Now, if the only way you can get it back is to go have a massacre, go have a massacre. Just know you get less money.
Dak just looks horrified at that thought. Works looks at Yedyan.
Literally insists and thinks to themselves, is it possible to even get this group to sneak through somehow?
Alphina looks at you all and says, well, the shipment in particular is one item. And only one item. It is a 2-foot by 1-foot crate bearing the symbol of a black turtle on it. It should weigh about 40 pounds. Inside of it is a singular stone cylinder with a cold iron lid. It is not, if you accept this, it is not at any point to be opened or damaged. You got nothing, Fionn. It sounds like it could be any number of things, but not very specific. And without knowing what's inside of it, yeah.
That sounds like standard handling procedure for an unknown relic.
Alphino just kind of looks at it and says, it's not a relic. It's alchemical substances. We're more worried about it going inert.
Ah, well then, that would be simpler. Says Fionn. Of course, in her head, she's now worrying about it being chemical weapons.
Yeah, that's what Kata's thinking.
Regardless, I would rather there be no other questions about this. I just want to know, can we trust on you to do it or not? Alox has information, as he is our best counter-spy, on the compound where it's being held, where it's currently being held, and the guards on duty. Alox pipes up. And you'll all be happy to know that if you happen to get this done before the Rogues Gallery, the Notaire family is currently all very distracted with the festivities.
Dex, like, trying to think this over. Fionn looks at Dequa for the answer.
Adol is also looking at her.
She's got, like, her hand over her mouth, and she's looking down, just thinking.
Rowan, meanwhile, is like quietly sipping wine. How do we always get sucked into this?
I wish I knew. She kind of looks around at the group. No offense at all, but I don't see us doing this quietly. I don't think we have any skills in sneaking.
If our past exploits are anything to go off of, no.
Work says, sneaking is the one area I can't even try to boast about.
I have a limited capacity for it, but this is not a one-person job, says Fionn.
Alox just calmly starts tapping his fingers together. Well, what if I told you the sneaking portion was a one-person job?
That
could be doable.
As I said, I have the names and vices of every guard on duty for the next 2 days. So... And the container's light enough that one person could be able to carry it, especially he points to Dak and Kato with their handy haversacks, especially if you have one of those.
That is true. So what does everyone else think? You think we could do this job then? I don't really want to say yes without your guys' input. Out of character, unlike someone else.
Oh my god.
Completely out of character on that. Work says, if only one person used a sneak, I think we could take care of the rest of it. And
Alox, meanwhile, very quietly kind of rolls over to Adol, whispers something in his ear, and you see the red-headed cat's face go redder than his hair.
I'm next to him. Can I, like, perception that?
Sure.
28.
You hear him whisper, "So, a few little birdies told me that a certain Vera has the hots for you."
Dak's face gets a little redder. Kind of looks away.
And considering she feels bad about your little match, maybe you can convince her to help.
More Gale would be nice, but as the most junior member of the group, I suppose I'll leave it to you, the others, to decide for sure.
Also, Fionn says we could, stressing only the most literal definition of the word.
Skull just says, "I'm in for whatever ride you all decide."
Isn't that kind of in your contract, though?
Shut up! He just snaps Kato's and shut up!
Not the time.
Rowan has sat back and she goes, "Hey, I'll go with whatever you all decide to do. I think it's, depending on the information, it's probably possible."
Waiting on Works and Fionn to say.
I'm gonna interject when that one works. I think your meal is done. They gave you plenty of time to eat.
Yeah, the meal's done, Rox. This is decision time.
Yeah.
Now, if you wanted to change that until after dessert, I would allow.
Fionn sighs and rolls her eyes as they exchange across the table. Very well, then I will cast my lot in favor of doing the job.
Works with analysis. Can we give you an answer after dessert? I think we do need some time to really talk this out. At that point, Alphino is just like tapping his fingers. He's like, "Do the rest of you want dessert?"
Cheesecake. Please.
No, thank you.
You see his eye.
These are just, these are just eyes Kato again, like, dear lord.
The man can put it away.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, like, dear lord. Asking the guy that owns the restaurant, like a waiter? Like, are you trying to get yourself killed?
You see like every member of the family, including Alox, just like looking at you like bug-eyed.
He's got balls. He's gonna lose them eventually, but. Fionn says, I think I'll pass, thank you. I think our general answer is yes. I would request to do it tomorrow. I do have engagements tonight. Plus, it would be better if I had a rest and recharged.
Understandable. As I said, you need to do the job before the Rogues Gallery takes place, because obviously once that happens, the guard becomes much more
Formidable? Formidable?
if that's the word you have to use.
As does our intel grow stale, says Fionn.
Indeed. Now then, I'm going to leave now and take most of my retinue with me. Alox will stay and provide you additional intel. And I will send another waiter in. That man very slowly gets up, dusts himself off a little, and gives Kato the dirtiest look imaginable as he leaves.
Thank you very much, sir. She gives him like the warmest smile she can.
Just roll a perception.
35, natural 20.
You look and all you can see is just the purest disgust.
Oh, at me?
No, just in general.
Oh.
Just
Oh.
like he wants to spit after this conversation.
She looks a bit disheartened at that. Kind of sinks a little bit in her seat.
As he leaves, Locke just looks at Kato and goes, "Why? Just why?"
To which part are you referring?
Whoa!
Asking for like tea cake.
The button is trying to get us killed.
Okay.
Would you? Go ahead. Derek.
Fionn says, as a matter of fact, he's a country boy.
For your sake, and thinking you are ignorant right now, you don't ask a noble for something when there are other people on hand that you can ask for that something from. Unless they specifically ask you what you want. He was asking for a general statement of how many people still want dessert. Probably so he could tell that one to shut up. He says pointing it works. Likewise, you don't tell a king that the queen is the most powerful person next to him. That's a good way to lose a head.
That was a disaster of a meeting.
At that point, he just rubs his face. He's like, okay.
He really did not like that conversation at all.
I don't blame him. That's... don't think there was any recovering at that point. Works. I don't think there was
Or
any
says,
recovering.
which is why I called to have it stalled. To recover ourselves.
Yes, but that was as simple as asking for the next day. I'm sorry this meal's gone kind of south at all.
Dole's just kind of like, it's fine, Jack. I'm used to it.
She
Works
reaches
says,
over
that
and
statement
pats
has
his
been less
hand.
doable.
Yeah.
Well,
Deck reaches over and pats Adol's hand.
well, at least maybe we can hope that reputation is incompetent is gonna keep more offers from coming towards us.
In all honesty, you're not the one who should apologize, he says to Deck while side-eyeing Alox.
Alox holds up his hands and he goes, sorry, business is business, and I know that you all were in the business of gaining more gil. Likewise, you just got a free meal at one of the most expensive restaurants in Apernaeus. I'd say a little awkwardness in a proposition isn't too bad.
Yeah, that is true. I said I'd pay, but I'm now worrying about how much that would actually end up being.
Alox's eyes Skull and Theo, and he very quietly flips a piece of paper over to her.
The thing is, I'll see what Walker's gonna say, then I'll see what I'm gonna say.
From what I remember from Ishgard, it doesn't hurt to claim the good graces of higher powers.
At this point, I don't think we can hope for good graces. I think we can hope for good ambivalence. So I can't pronounce that very right.
Yeah, at the best, he's going to tolerate us. She takes another sip of her tea.
If you want good grace, we'd have to pull off the most amazing theft imaginable.
If we complete the job the way he asked, you never know, says Works. Oh, yeah. Fiona looks down at the sheet of paper, then back up to shoot a baleful glare at Alox, her cheeks bright red.
The Makote just shrugs. Do you all want the extra intel, or should I wait till after the waiter arrives?
I suppose it'd be better to wait till after the waiter gets here. Oh.
I'll wait for after Fion's thing.
Yep, that's why I wasn't talking. Alright, let's hear it.
Okay. It's at this point the waiter comes back in. She's like, it's the Rogan again. He goes, alright, I heard that some of you wanted dessert. We do have dessert, wines, and coffee if anybody wants that too.
I'll have a coffee.
Very good.
Coffee for me, please, says Fiona.
Would like a pizza as well. Answer school. Kato, in the meantime, has his arms crossed over his chest, refusing to speak anymore. And Work says, I'll just have another bourbon.
Kato expressed some interest in cheesecake.
I believe we have a few slices left. We can do that. Anybody else want anything?
Well, just okay. They asked if you want a different drink or the sort, right?
Wait, what?
I forget. I didn't quite hear because I was busy typing. What did they ask?
If you wanted dessert or like another drink. They said they had dessert, wines, and coffee if you wanted those.
Eugen's actually gonna refuse the extra stuff because nearly dying spoils the appetite.
At that point, the waitress walks off, and a couple cups of coffee and Works' beverage float back in. Kato and Works' cheesecake come in, and Locke just kind of goes, okay, so shall I, begin with this?
Please.
Alright, so first and foremost on our list of people is Niuj Notor. He's the nephew of the family and is a bit of a spoiled brat. He doesn't have a head for business, and he's very easily distracted by his various vices, particularly women, small animals, and tobacco. He considers himself a Casanova of sorts, but reputation for being really clumsy and slipping all over his words. He has a soft spot for baby boars, puppies, coral kittens, all things of that nature.
Yeah, just sorry to interrupt, can you tone down the soundtrack a slight bit? I'm having a hard time hearing over it immediately.
You can turn it down on your
Wait, can
settings. Yeah, it's in the settings on the cog.
Okay, so you can turn that back up if you want. I'm just going to turn it down myself then.
The master music volume. Yeah, small animals, Fiona raises an eyebrow, yeah.
Yeah, which he responded like, yeah, he has a soft spot for small animals, especially puppies, curl kittens, shaggy swoats, things of that nature.
Does he like birds?
The furry variety are more his thing.
Understandable.
As he's being brought up, I'm guessing he's going to be around the...
Lox just kind of thinks about it for a moment. Well... Work says, Rowan, I hate to say it, but you may be best suited to distract him. Not only your beauty, but you do have 3 dogs, and she looks over. It was 7, and none of them are with us. Unless you're counting yourself.
Oh. Fiona opens her mouth to say something but thinks better of it. I was gonna say, I know I'm not apt to distract him.
At this point, Alex says, I'll let you all figure that out later. Next, we have Tepori Notor. He's the patriarch's cousin. Tepori is more the bookish type, and he's the group's accountant. He's a very serious figure, but he's usually constantly crunching numbers. Really would only have to worry about him once you're on the inside and the like. After that, we have Genelago. She's a former street urchin, or rather, he is a former street urchin. The Notor family adopted and trained him as a footpad. He's skilled in espionage, but he's still very hot-headed and easy to provoke. You call him a bastard, you're sure to get into a fight with him.
Touchy subject, it sounds like, says Fiona.
Work says that sounds like he's right up my alley. Well, as we said, we prefer not to get into violence, so maybe instead of just brawling, maybe try to goad him into attacking you, and then run down the street and call the guards.
I was actually thinking that myself.
Works, that was the plan. I have a reputation for throwing many fights back in Ishgard. Lox blinks. And he looks to Adol, and Adol's like, I have never heard of him in my life.
It's been a while since he was home.
I don't think you have any reputation anymore, Walks.
Moving on. Himenia is one of the 2 Sisters of the Night working for the family. She's very loyal to the family and lets nothing get in the way of her duties. However, she is still a prostitute by trade and duty to the family. So, which of you two want to bite a bullet? If you want to consider sleeping with a beautiful Mikote woman, biting a bullet. Works raises his hand, to which everyone in the room goes, "Yep."
Fiona buries her face in her hands. Oh.
Rowan just kind of swirls her wine in the glass. I guess we're not happening then.
Let's not fight, please.
Works says, "I'm doing it for the cause." Sure you are. She just laughs at you.
Brooke sinks down into a seat, and Fiona says, "We could just pit two against each other?"
The Lox says, "You could try. That'd be a bit difficult, though."
Past history between the two?
Not to my knowledge. They tend to cycle through people relatively often. And, there's a reason they call it a family. Shall I continue?
Please.
Yes.
Do go on, says Fiona.
Alright, next we have, Raganan. Hang on. Raganan Notaire. She's the most mysterious of this lot, but we've started calling her the Falcon. Most of the time she's perched up in the watchtower of the villa with her longbow. Unless she's off shift, she doesn't come down. Ever. Most of us wonder if she even sleeps.
That's gonna be difficult.
That sounds like...
What was that?
I was just saying that sounds like trouble right there already.
Yeah, that sounds like it's gonna be difficult to stay out of range. Or eye shot.
Afterwards, we have... Works as Cottontail. Adol scratching his head for a moment. I guess I can go talk to her.
Jack kind of looks down a little bit.
Lox just kind of nods very faintly. He says, "Well, next we have Bethenin Notaire, a hard-nosed taskmaster of the family and the brother of the family matriarch. Bethenin is a serious threat and a brawler besides. He does have one serious vice, though. Alcohol. After that, we have Kubrani, and she's one of the two gatekeepers for the place. She's the rough and tumble sort, and very eager to prove she's just as tough as any of the boys. The second gatekeeper is Toninin. He's an excellent fighter and has a well-developed sidle. He also happens to be aggressively homosexual and has a thing for Ro. And he looks at Kato.
What's your point?
I'm saying you'd make an excellent distraction for him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. let's not trade away Kato's dignity, as eager as Worksend is to do likewise, says Fion.
Well, I wasn't really considering trading his dignity, more just using him to pull away a gatekeeper. Regardless, we have two left. Then there's Primrose. She's a Duskwhite Elezen who we have never learned her real name. No amount of prying has done anything for that. She's quiet, she's soft-spoken, but is probably the best damn smuggler in the city with a pair of eyes to match. She is very skittish around a certain red-headed officer, though.
Oh?
Don't know, maybe the two have some past together. Couldn't tell you.
Hmm.
Could tell you where to find said officer, though.
Which officer is this?
He's got more names than I care to go through. We usually just call him L.
Okay.
Lastly is Dolnero. He's a hall patrol officer. He works hard and he keeps on frequent shifts. However, he doesn't sleep very well, and if you tend to disrupt his sleep, he has problems the next day. Those are the 10 who are going to be on duty. Lox kind of looks at Works and he says, well, let's see. I count you, Kato, Dak, Fion, Yedrin, Rowan, Adol, and Skull. Or whoever else Fion happens to decide to carry along with her. So that's 8.
Adol, you don't have to help if you don't want to.
Adol's just kind of like, I don't think I really have an option if, yeah.
Fion says one of us will have to perform the stealth mind.
Lux, no, this is true. Works meanwhile says, Les Lox wants to be kind and help us, at which point he he pulls his coat open and lifts it up, and there's just this huge stitch across the side. It's like, I'm not sneaking anywhere.
Dak kind of reaches her hand out as if she's gonna heal, but then she looks down at her hands, and I'm tapped out.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh.
It's hard enough for me to go piss by myself right now. I don't think I'm in any position to be lurking about enemy territory.
I do have some training in the subject, but it sounds like some of the guards are rather attentive, to say the least, so those would be the ones we definitely have to distract somehow. Namely Falcon and I forgot the name, but the hall guard and the smuggler.
Belnir
and the smuggler.
At that point, Lox looks at Fiona. Well, Fiona, I watched your fight with Tyr. I saw you disappear completely. Could you put that on someone else?
That is a thought.
Thanks for a minute. Hey, Walks. You care if I borrow those boots you recently got?
Works responds as long as I get them back.
Fiona nods. Indeed, I can. I can use the magic for Yedrin and apply the glamours towards distractions.
How long do you think that magic lasts?
Dak starts thinking.
Because at this point, he like slaps down a blueprint of the location.
Got to watch that be made. With a bit of mental math, Fiona concludes, no more than 5 minutes, 7 if I expend some of my aether flow to sustain it further.
7 minutes. That could be enough, so long as there were no complications. But she would have to get through the compound completely and then down into one of the subfloors.
Past any locked doors, possible alarms.
Indeed.
It would be useful if it could be deployed later is an emergency, but 7 minutes.
As far as distraction, I have a spell I could use. I could disguise myself with magic. Kinda twiddles her thumb a little bit. I haven't used it before though. As can I, says Fiona.
This one is looking over everything. He's thinking about it long and hard. He's just, well, we need to figure out what the plan of action is. Are we going to try to ignore all of them altogether and just go in with invisibility, or are we going to try to take out as many as possible and use the invisibility as a fallback?
I think the best bet would be to at least distract the ones most likely to notice something going wrong.
I'm going to go ahead and say this as bluntly as possible. You're not going to get Tipori. Man never leaves the compound. He's almost always there doing math. However, his nose is always buried in the book, so yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't him I was worried about. I'm worried about the one in the tower, the one that runs the halls, and the smuggler with good eyes.
Worksman says, I say take out as many as possible. And Fiona says, I do not have enough magic to make everyone invisible, so at best, 1 or 2.
There is another small matter that needs to be addressed. Unless you get rid of both gate guards, there's only 2 other ways in. One's on the roof. And then the other way will require some legwork from me. A small portion of the family is having a invitation-only party in the back. A viewing party, if you would, for the Battle Royale. Well, the vast majority of the family has decided that they would rather attend in person. A good number have decided to set up a few crystals and scries in their backyard to watch the fireworks from afar. Now, I could flinch a invitation or two for that. If you think you could mingle well enough and then sneak in.
I'm not so sure how well that would go over, considering.
Although I do have some training in training, I don't have the relevant training in mingling with. I guess this that would be around.
Fionn says that would play merry hell with plausible deniability.
Worksman says a few of us are participating in the Royale. Really? Oh, that puts a damper on things, now doesn't it?
Well, I was gonna say some of us are probably a little bit more well known now because of the tourney.
Could explain how you got the invitation.
That's true. That is true.
The Battle Royale doesn't take place until
Isn't it tomorrow?
I think that's the third day. Tomorrow's the team fighting Team Donbad and Rogues Gallery, I believe. I think the Battle Royale is the third day.
Day 2 is Behemoth Riding, followed by Team Combat and the Rogues Gallery. So yeah, third day is Battle Royale, I think.
Day 3 is the Battle Royale.
Yeah.
For the sake of it, let's say I made an error and the Rogues Gallery takes place on day 4.
Okay. I mean, I could mingle, but outside of that, I don't know how else I could help in that regard.
Lox kind of thinks for a moment. I know one way, but you're not gonna like it.
She looks a little nervous. Go ahead.
Says you still have your owl, don't you?
Yes, I do have Millie and a new addition named Scotch. He's a hawk.
Have them go attack our deer falcon. Try to take a fly or two if you can.
The thought did cross my mind. Not that I like very savory things such as that. I say as I'm talking about breaking into a villa.
Noxus holds his hand. They stole from us first. We're merely snatching what was snatched.
I guess if you want to rationalize it like that, yes. Oh, we lost Jedred.
Orc says, Fionn, could you have not cramp help with that?
That might be a bit overkill, says Fionn. Well, Not Cramp does have the smaller form. Works it.
This sounds like this person is a problem, so overkill may be necessary. Lux says, I don't know what a knot cramp is, but yeah. Let's not send the city into a panic.
She opens her mouth, but then remembers what Not Cramp has done to Lux. And promptly closes her mouth. Don't need to point out it was the bird that stole his money.
this point, the boxes. The container you're looking for is on the first subfloor.
Also, I think he might be a bit sour over taking hits from me twice. Being a distraction might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Says Fion. Yeah.
Except you lost judgment.
Yep.
At that point, Lox just kind of sits back as your dessert is, I think I already said it did come to you, but for the sake of it,
Yeah.
your dessert comes to you. He says, well, I will leave that for you all to decide. It's even if your decision if you want to get involved or not still.
That is true.
I need to use the restroom. Gets up, and I think that's a good place to call it for the night.
Yeah.
Let you all figure out how you want to do this over the week. Before I go to bed, I'll post up all the names and I'll post it in the party chat so you can see the names and their vices and whatnot.
Okay.
Also,
That's
apologies if we offended you at all, Kato. It was just the characters reacting to, like, what are you doing?
I guess.
Oh.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Night.
Okay. Good night, Kato. Hmm. Well, that wasn't how I expected dinner to go, but
That's just my take. Works. Rowan could be perfectly fine with that.
yeah.
I just think if I'm on a date with somebody, I don't think I want to hear about them wanting to volunteer to go sleep with another woman. Up. Probably owe Kato an apology. Skull? His sexuality? I'd say as close to straight without being straight as possible.
Hey, Adrian.
I'm back.
I sincerely doubt that. Unless, like, Fiona straight up ordered him to, and then he would feel really weird afterward.
I wanted to flirt, not flirt more with Adol tonight.
No one was really heading that direction, so...
I know. Like I said, I kind of wasn't expecting to have the mob come join us for dinner.
I gotta give you a plot thread.
Oh yeah, no.
I mean, it's still one you guys can ignore if you choose to.
Mm-hmm. Yedrin.
Okay, they're all up.
Okay.
I'm out for now. I hate upsetting my players. So
Yeah.
I hate upsetting people in general. Like I know
Mhm.
I'm still recording.
Hmm.